It's Dave Johar and
Ra Hokum.
together in the Punchout office. Forgive me, first of all, lost my voice, but today we're going to be giving a prediction for Johnny Fisher versus Dave Allen. What a fight! Who would have thought we're here again? The inquest, the controversy, is fair to say, has caused for a rematch. Would you say that's the case, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I certainly think from Johnny Fisher's point of view, it had to be the next fight in terms of his credibility, at least within the trade. I know he's got a very big support base that,
as we saw at the press conference.
At the open workout, which I visited, the shopping centre there in Romford, was pretty full.
Yep.
And that they would have probably forgiven him if he decided to go back to having a few more learning fights, which I think the first fight might indicate he needs. But kudos to Eddie and Matchroom. They do expect big things of their prospects, and they expect him to step up and tidy up any mess they leave behind, which is what happened that night in Riyadh with the controversial result. Had to happen again, and fitting that it's back local for Johnny Fisher.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Either side are saying they won it by a point.
Mm-hmm.
When speaking to Jamie Moore this week as well, he was saying they won it. When speaking to Team Fisher, they were saying they won it by a point as well. So it was very close.
Mm-hmm.
But the knockdown, I think that possibly swayed it as well. Spoke to Kieran Conway. He said his gut instinct told him, although he didn't score it, it was a Dave Allen win as well, purely because of the knockdown. But look, it's all to play for. But in my opinion, I think this could be a step back for Johnny Fisher if he loses, a big step back. Dave's been involved in some massive nights as well. Before we go into our predictions, I suppose let's talk about if Johnny Fisher loses tomorrow, where does that put him? Because, that could be devastating in terms of the heavyweight landscape, because Eddie Hearn told me this week they've got big plans for Johnny Fisher. They've got big, massive plans for Johnny Fisher, is what Eddie Hearn told me.
It'd be a huge setback, and it would probably put him, for the foreseeable future at least, firmly in the novelty act role, which might be unfair because Dave Allen is, when he wants to be, he's a decent fighter. But if you look at what other prospects upcoming have done with him, they've beaten him conclusively, including prospects that haven't gone on to the top level, like Tony Yoka, for example. So if you're going to get to any sort of championship level, then you're expected to beat a Dave Allen, he's not a journeyman, who's what I'd call a trial horse, but you're expected to beat him conclusively. So yeah, that first night you could put it down to as a bad night, just the busted eardrum through him, etc. But if you get beaten again, that will really put your championship credentials on hold. I know he's still young and he would have time to come back, but I mean, if his fans and family were that upset by the response for the result first time round, imagine how they're going to feel from the response if he actually gets beaten.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest as well. Hats off to both men for taking this rematch on more or less straight away-ish. Mm-hmm. And I say ish because a few months have passed. But again, hats off to both men, especially Johnny Fisher, for coming back after this controversial result. Even though it was a win, he almost has to tell people, look, but I won. I had the result, and sometimes it didn't. He has to justify that win as well. But hats off for him for taking it. But let's go into the prediction then. How do you see this one going down tomorrow night at the Copper Box, or as people are calling it this week, the Copper Bosch? Rightfully so as well, because the press conference was filled to the brim with Johnny Fisher friends and family cheering their man on. How do you think it's going to go down on Saturday?
One thing about Johnny, he is very level-headed. He's a very intelligent young man. I think that's obvious, despite all the circus that his sort of dad creates with his online persona. But he's gone away to the Canaries, different sort of training camp. I think it shows he's much more focused. That he's got much more of that steely professionalism about this. I think he'll go out there and put in a clinical boxing performance and win conclusively on points this time. Also, the vibe I'm getting from Dave Allen is he's probably satisfied that he got a big payday over there in Riyadh, and he's getting probably another decent payday.
Or is that an act? Or is he fooling us?
Well,
you never know with Dave Allen.
Could be,
to be fair. I mean, he's quite nonchalant sometimes, isn't he?
He is. I don't think it will fool Johnny Fisher though, so I don't think Fisher will do anything reckless. I don't think he'll be gung-ho. I think he'll know that under Mark Tibbs's guidance, if he sticks to a strategy, he can win conclusively on points. I think he's learned from that first fight just how tough a man Dave Allen is, that this isn't a guy that you can just knock over like he has other fighters. So I think he'll box sensibly and get a conclusive win on points this time. I don't think Dave Allen is going to sort of dig deep to try and pull out a win in the teeth of that. Don't think it'll be necessarily an electrifying performance, but his fans will be happy at the end with the win.
So yeah, I think it's going to be Johnny Fisher as well on points. I think he will probably knock Dave Allen down in the process of doing so. So I mean, he made no illusion, no bones about it, that he will be throwing bombs from round one. And again, I don't know if that's in just playing up to the media and the event, but he did say from round one he'll be throwing bombs. He's going to be going toe to toe because that's the only way he does know how to fight. But I think the younger, fresher man will win. I think he'll win on points and he'll right the wrongs of that night over in Riyadh. Dave Allen, the career goes on. He's a cult hero, as what Jamie Moore said. I'm surprised there's not a Bob Dylan song wrote about him or something like that, to be fair, because he has been in the game. Well, we keep on forgetting as well, he's only 33 years old. Mm-hmm. He's in his early 30s. It's not, we probably think the wars he's had and the amount of fights he's had and the big nights he's had, he's a lot older. But he's relatively young for a heavyweight, isn't he, Rob?
Yeah.
But I think this won't be the end of Dave Allen. I think Johnny Fisher will right the wrong. He'll win on points, I agree with you. And who knows what's going to be next for Johnny Fisher? Where does he go from this? So it'll be interesting to see how he's manoeuvred after this fight, because again, I don't think he's ready for the likes of your Dubois, your Joshuas, your Furies, people that have had those championship rounds at championship level, at world level. I don't think he's there yet, but I think if they manoeuvre him right, he could be a potential star in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, and the thing is, the heavyweight division is, as we know, it's a golden era here in the UK. Although it might not feel like it now, I think we're going to look back at this rotten era. He's going to be a long way off the championship level, but at domestic level, get through Dave Allen conclusively. I think he could do with a few more opponents like that, but they're going to have to probably get foreign imports before he maybe goes for something like, say, at British level. And as I said, Dave Allen, I don't think it'll be the end of him because, like I said, there's so many young prospects upcoming. I'm sure a lot of the promoters will always want to have their prospect tested at some point.
I mean, I'd like to see a Johnny Fisher against a Nelson Heiser, for example.
Yeah.
Someone of that ilk, who's unbeaten, who's bringing a name at the minute on the on the European level. Potentially down the line, if Bowman Brown keeps on winning, that'll be a good fight as well down the line. Mm-hmm. So, but again, Dave Allen, we've seen what happens with Derek Chisora. Resurrected his career, even though he's had more than one loss, more than two losses on his record. A loss doesn't mean anything. Now he's possibly going to be in line for the IBF World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that? 5 or 6 years ago, you would never have thought of that. But there you go, that's our prediction from Team Punchout Boxing. Let us know what your prediction is as well. Make sure you stay tuned. Next week, Raw will be over in Doncaster, isn't it? For the
yes,
for the
hopefully Doncaster on the Friday, And then York Hall for the Saturday and Sunday for TM14 and Top Tiers shows respectively. So a busy bank holiday weekend for me.
I keep forgetting it's bank holiday, and yeah, stay tuned for all the content over on all of our socials. So thank you for watching. Cheers.